Hello, anyone or everyone. I am making some gesso today, so I thought I'd just come on live and I need the practice. So, or you might be catching it afterwards and it might be helpful for some. Now I know there's many ways to make gesso. And when I first started using the product, it was just, a little store-bought one that I tried. I think it was a Faber Faber Castell. It came in a kit and it was just a little sampler. And I fell in love from that point on and started looking for different ways that I could make my own. It can get very pricey. So I do make my own at times if I need it specific for, a project. So today I'm going to see if I can get through all three. I'm going to make some clear gesso, some white gesso, but you can choose whatever color you want, and some textured paste. So let me tell you the supplies. I have some gloves, just some scrap piece of paper. I have plastic and wax paper down on my working surface here. Glass jar. This is just a wide mouth canning jar. Hello, Louise. Oh, you had your volume up. I'm glad it wasn't me because it kind of sounds like me. And I'll tell you guys a funny story about setting up today. Any kind of paint, if you could use white paint, even if you have some spare paint in a can. I know a lot of people are going to say no, but I did see somebody do that and it worked. So this is just a little brown that I have, and you could color your gesso. You could make some black gesso by using some black acrylic paint. And here's some blue. You could even make blue if you wanted to. Now, I would in smaller increments. I like to use these little things. So I have just mixed paint in to make a color. What else? Measuring spoons and cups, and these are just ones that I use that I keep for this purpose. Something to stir it with. I'm out of the tongue depressor type things, but like a hard straw, and a funnel if I need it, palette knife, and I love using skewers and toothpicks in projects that I do. It's a great tool and it's inexpensive. What else? I made a makeshift stencil because all my stencils and most of my supplies, I know some people have heard, are in storage because something just, long story short, something just fell through. I thought I was going to be moving and it was a pretty for sure thing, but then it kind of just is on pause. So I am away from my stuff, so I have just a little bit of supplies, but I'm getting some just to have closer, just because I don't want to drive a long ways to get my other stuff. Should have thought of that one a little better. You're going to need some kind of baby powder and or plaster of Paris or marble dust. I've seen all three, and I know there's so many different ways to make it, and I'm sure you've seen videos for it. This is just what I follow and how I make it when I do. You're going to need some glue. I have some Elmer's here. You can use cheap dollar store glue if you have it. What else? Well, you'll see if I miss something as I go along. This is what I typically use. I've been asked what kind of gesso I use on my journal pages. If it's a regular standard journal that I create and sell on Etsy or otherwise, I use a super heavy gesso from Liquitex. That is what is in this big thing because this had cracked apart in shipping, and Blick Art Supplies was nice enough to send me a new one because it rolled around and split wide open. So I was setting up and I was getting my paint ready, and I realized I didn't have any regular white, so I had to dip into a can, and I had this on the table right over there, and let's just say my table kind of got a whitewash. So I don't have a full cup of that. So anyway, what else? I have a brush, a paintbrush, that kind of thing. So I'm going to stick my gloves on. If you are sensitive to things or you feel the need, you can also wear a face mask when using like marble dust or plaster of Paris. I had an old plastic coffee can. It was the plastic kind, because I like to reuse that paper clay, and I would mix it in those. But I had one, and I had plaster of Paris in it, and the whole container I had just put in there just for storage. And when I saw that I needed some clear gesso, because I wanted to make some with a little bit of grit to it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to need to get some marble dust. So I went to Blick and online, and that's where I get most of my art supplies from. And I bought some, and that's their marble dust. This is a 4-pound bag. It's really reasonable, and if you price it out like from Amazon and other places, it's really quite reasonable. So I have this. And then today, when I went to get out all my supplies, I opened up my Dunkin' Donuts coffee can that I had in a storage closet, and I've got more marble, powdered marble. So I don't know where the plaster of Paris is, but it wasn't in the can. So I have a ton of this. I can just make it. I probably won't ever use all of that in my lifetime. So you can use that as a substitute for any powder in the recipe. I used a little too much. I used a glass jar like this, and I used a little too much of the plaster of Paris. I do like the grit. It is so nice and so gritty if you like that kind of look. And for mark making or for page covering or anything, but it hardened really fast. So if you're going to use plaster of Paris, just be careful how much you use in it, and give it a few seconds, before adding more in it. What else? I have some wipes and some water, just like a quarter cup. I do have the baby powder set out. Baby powder can be used, but it's not as gritty. It smells great. I like the smell of baby powder, but it's not as gritty as I would like. So if I did use this, I'm going to add some marble dust to it. I've seen people use, this is joint compound for sheetrock, or that's got to be super mixed up. Looks like it's a little bit dried out too. I've never used it, but I've seen other people use it, and it works. It just probably isn't as smooth, but you can do mark making with it. So for anybody who's super new and does not, yeah, I am having a great day, actually. It's all good. At least I got the paint off, But I went to wipe it up with paper towel, and I threw it away in the wastebasket under my sink. And then I was continuing to clean and stuff and wipe my hands off and all that. And then I put my hand in there and pushed down my paper towel, and just paint. It like squished it and flew up. It was just, a little bit of a hot mess, but that's okay. It's fun. Fun, fun, fun. If anybody does not know what gesso is, a lot of artists use it as a base for a canvas or paper or any kind of substrate that you're going to add mediums to. It does allow for true colors to come through, especially when you get into oil pastels and chalk pastels. And I'm not an expert, but this is just what I know, and I'm sure other people can add to that. I also know that it gives tooth. So it gives that little extra bit of tooth in there. Yeah, it is fun. And it gives tooth to pages. It removes any shine. Use clear gesso over a glossy picture, maybe. I've used it over any kind of magazines that I use magazines in now more than ever before in collage and in backgrounds, and it's great. And it does contain glue, and not a lot of people use it as a glue, but it definitely in collage can be used as a glue. Okay, so the clear gesso, the one I'm going to put together today, is I saw it on Pink Poodle Crafts, and it was a long time ago, but I think it's still up there, I'm sure, the video. So I just want to give credit for that. All the, the other recipes as well. I have seen different recipes like 7 years ago when I started using it. I alter them like most recipes. You alter it to your taste. If I was going to make a super grungy journal, I'm going to add more grit to it because that's what I like. So I alter the recipes. So these are just the base recipes. So we're going to go with 1 cup of white glue. And because I'm not going to make a whole ton of it, I'm going to start with half. So I like the wide mouth. I saw somebody putting one together and they were using a smaller mouth, and it just seemed like, you got to use funnels, and I do have a funnel, but I think we can fit it in there. You know what? Maybe I will. I'll make the full one. So that was a half a cup. And I have wipes standing by. And so if you see how much glue there is in this, that's why you know that it's really going to nail your stuff down. If I use other glue, even a glue stick, I don't have to be afraid of lifting because I usually use gesso around the edges or on top, and it works well. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. And then a 1/4 cup of water, which I already have right here. And I'm just going to mix that first. Mix it up and get it together. Thanks for stopping by, Louise. Now, for anybody, and I have the info in the description box, but if anyone's interested, you can also, I mod and for Patty Lang at Sacred Mementos, and I have been asked recently about where I get a lot of my ephemera from, and that is mostly where I find it. You can find stuff at thrift stores if you're lucky enough, or antique stores, but she does have a lot of great products on Mondays and Thursdays. And there's a Facebook group as well, Sacred Mementos. Come check us out. Patty's been doing this for a long time, doing that selling. And also Instagram and stuff I'm on, so all the links will be there. I will try to find the exact videos from the people that I got the recipes from. Okay, that's pretty much well blended. And then we're just going to add our grit, basically. So I'm going to open up this one because I think I had this open from before. This is the marble dust. And I'm going to add probably about 6 tablespoons. And I'm going to make mine a little heaping. Well, actually, I think I'm going to stick with, what was that, 5? Now you can just go by sight, to see if it's gritty enough for you, but I'm going to mix it before I add more in. Oh, great. Ironing paper. That's awesome. Oh, look at the, I don't know if you can see that. Do you see the little bit of grit in there? And now it looks white, but I haven't added any pigment to it at all. And when it dries, if you add too much powdered marble, you're going to get a little bit of a film over it instead of really clear. And I've got clear glue, and I could have used that too, but you know, Elmer's dries clear. I like that. Now the consistency I look at, if I'm going to use it in an art journal and cover, just, you know, really cover a lot of pages, I don't mind it being a little bit on the liquidy side, but I am going to add just a little bit more. Let's see how that does. Now, I probably won't use this. I usually have, like, where it's in storage, I have the Liquitex, and it's I believe it's Liquitex. It's a textured clear gesso. There's not that many out there that are like that, but I really like it. And I probably won't use this if it's a little gritty. I probably won't use it over a picture if I really want that to shine through. All right, let me move this aside. Hopefully I won't spill it everywhere. That is what I'm doing today, apparently. So here is, actually, this is some paper that Louise makes. And it's just beautiful. Look at how nice that is. Louise, do you sell that in your Etsy shop, your colored papers, or just on Patty's channel? Let's do a little test with this. I'm going to put this here. Yeah, it's already kind of clear, isn't it? You're not seeing any pigment. You see the little bit of grit in there? I don't know if you can catch it. There, that's a little bit. And I'll use these pieces for sure. I love the color tones, so I will take strips even if there's just one, and even better because if I add pastels over it or anything. Right, there's just too many people that want it. It's hard to keep stock, I'm sure, in an Etsy shop. But you can find this in other paper. Louise sells on Patty's channel as well. Okay, so here's our clear, and I'm going to mark it. And later, if I see that it's, you know, not as gritty as I want for a project, I'm just going to add a little bit more to it. So one down. Whoops, sorry. And here's another. So this one we're going to make is white gesso. Where I saw the original recipe was a lady, I forgot her name, but she's My Therapy Room. Perfect, right? And it was about 6 or 7 years ago. She put out a video and she used the Plaster of Paris. And yeah, I don't have any. But that's okay. I'm gonna do it this way. So first we're gonna add, I like to add the water first. So that is a 1/4 cup of water. Let me get my little. Yeah, grab that. And you know, if you're not an exact type person, you don't have to be. It's consistency, and as long as you have the ratios pretty accurate, like I said, you're adding more powder to make it grittier, so it's fine. And then I'm going to add my powder. Let's do baby powder. Now that was almost a half a cup, but the original recipe is the powder and water, and you mix that first. So a quarter cup of the plaster of Paris. I used more because it's baby powder, and I'm just going to add it like this. Just going to stir it up. It mixes hard. I've seen people use cornstarch too. Okay. I like these hard straws for this, and I don't use this one anymore. I purchased some stainless steel ones that I like, and it comes with a little brush that goes right through. Okay, I think that's pretty mixed in. All right, and I'm gonna use some white acrylic paint. The recipe is a quarter cup of plaster of Paris or baby powder, a quarter cup of water, and I used more water and more baby powder, and a half a cup of white acrylic paint. Now, like I said, you can use any color paint to make it, and I've got a ton of gesso, but this is just so I can show it on camera, the white one. I'm going to stir that up, mix it up really well. It wasn't quite. Okay, and then a quarter cup of glue. Give me my little. I feel like you're doing chemistry, right? Especially with the rusting stuff. And everybody has their own way of doing rusting. I know I posted a recipe on the Facebook group. I like listening, seeing how everybody else does it too. That's fun. Set that aside. It's getting thicker. I'm going to add probably a little bit more. I had baby powder, but I think I'm going to add a little bit more powder, so I'll use some of the marble, which is what, sodium carbonate? Yes. No, calcium carbonate. All right. Okay, and you mix it and see if you're getting the consistency. I don't know what would happen if I added some brown pigment. Should we try it? You might get a creamy color. Why not? It's fun. It's just plain. It's a nice color brown. I use a lot of this color, the brown tones anyway. I'm going to start out slow. And if it doesn't turn out, it's fine as far as color goes. It just gave it a little bit of a mocha color. I like it. Yes, I do. And this is just cheap baby powder from the dollar store that I just dumped all over the table. Good thing it smells good. Doesn't stain either. I know, close this paint up, right? It's my day of spilling. I'm just glad it didn't go over on the computer or anything, you know. It's a disaster. I think I like the tone. I don't know if you can tell. It's not quite white. It's just got that little bit. I like the chalkiness of the extra powder. It's getting a little thicker. Yep. Just want to make sure it's stirred. You really do want to make sure your plaster of Paris or whatever powder you're using, that it mixes in really well, so you don't get big clumps and stuff. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a little bit more. Yep, my ratios weren't perfect, but I'll put the link, and if anybody wants the recipe, I can put it just a little bit more. I can put the recipe in there. See how it turns out. It's handy for the texture paste. There we go. It's looking a little thicker. Hear that? I lost the you know, the little, I know you can buy them, the little sticky things on the underside of these mats, the glass mat. Yeah, there's like one missing. How irritating is that, right? It's like a chair that's off or a table. Okay, I like that. I'm going to set this aside on my paper towel. I'm going to let that dry. But definitely the clear gesso is drying clear. Oh, I had some of the brown on it, but I like it. Yeah, I think I'm going to use that. Good, good, good. This I'll keep for art pages. A little bit more liquidy than my heavy. Okay. The next one is the texture paste. All right, I bought this. This is Liquitex Basics. You see, it's $24.99. It was from Hobby Lobby, probably a couple years ago. I got this for $6 when they marked them all down. Oh, that was a great deal. It's a little smoother. It's a lot more smooth than my super heavy gesso. But I like it for this kind of stuff. So the texture paste recipe. Yeah, the softness of it, yeah. Let's see if we can get this out. Yeah, making all kinds of great noises. There is half a cup. Good thing I'm wearing clothing that allows me to play. Okay. You gotta wear old clothes for stuff like this. Okay, so we have a half a cup of gesso. So whatever gesso you have, even your pre-made one of white gesso, that's what we're going to use. Did I get it on my... I did. Okay, get it together there. There we go. Let's use this. Okay, got it all. So that's a half a cup of gesso, a quarter cup of Mod Podge or glue. Now I do have both, but since I have the glue right here, I'm going to get that. And texture paste, you don't have to just use it for stenciling. You can use it for extra texture on a page, mark making, add color to any of these, and it would work. You can mix colors separately, take some out, and mix it. Okay, put my glue over there. Cup of Plaster of Paris or baby powder. We're going to use a cup of this. Of the marble, the powdered marble. Yeah, I'm not going to try to pour it. Not today. Now, of course, everybody just, you can look into what you want to use or any of that. Just be safe, be careful, and do what you like to do. If you have a favorite technique with gesso, you can leave that in the comments if you want to. What's the weather like there, Louise? Okay, I'm just going to add my cup of powdered marble. Louise is in Canada. She lives in the old Anne of Green Gables house. Okay, she doesn't, but I like to pretend she does because that's really cool. Sunny and hot. Oh, okay. We finally got out of the heat and we're a lot cooler here in northern Michigan. Feels great. Finally feels like fall. The trees around me are all beautiful colors, fall colors, and it was like 85 2 days ago, you know, something like that. Okay, so we got the half a cup of gesso, quarter cup of glue, and the cup of powder. Just gonna really mix that well. And like any of it, you know, you can add more. You want it thinner, add in the just regular gesso, you can add more paint. If you want it thicker, you add more powder. It really is forgiving and flexible to how you are going to use it. It should last a while, and I can guarantee that it's, you know, acid-free or archival quality or any of those things, because I do not know, admittingly. So you can check that out. 76 there, huh? Yeah. That's not too bad. Well, that looks good, doesn't it? Look at, for textured paste. Yeah, it's nice and it's smooth, but it's got that little bit of grit in there. Yeah, see now me, I would use this as my gesso. But I mean that's just how I like it. But only with a heavy grit like that, only for probably a grungy or an art journal. This is a lot smoother and kind of reminds me of the shakes that I've been getting watching the reels on Instagram and stuff, and been seeing these protein shakes that I want to try. In a little personal blender thing that I have. Okay, let's try it out. Didn't like I said, I'm going to stick this in water real quick. Okay. And this is my favorite palette knife shape. I have multiples because, of course, you lose it, and I don't want to get used to another one. You can notice that shape. I just find it I just love the way it spreads and the way it looks on a page. Let's cover that up. So my little makeshift stencil. You see how, I didn't have a hole puncher either. And I made the circles and they're not, I don't know if you can see that, they're not perfectly round. I like that. I honestly like that. It just makes it, I don't know, a little more grungy and make it look like it's more handmade. I'm not one that has to have all the things perfect. Okay, let's see how this spreads and how it looks on the page. Just going to take some with my knife, move it over here. See how we like the consistency. I think I'm going to go with a little bit more. So you're ironing some paper. What are you going to be making with it? Or are you just the ones that you sell in the paper packs? I know a lot of people iron their paper that they put in journals. I don't. Unless it's really bad. It makes it a little thicker, and even as it stood there or sat, off to the side, it's actually thickened up a little bit. Do a little bit at a time until I get it where I want it. Like a mad scientist. I'm ironing more blue paper than going to work on chocolate. Oh, so nice. I've dyed, I think I've put, coffee bath or something when I was coffee dyeing. Now I buy my paper because it's just time and the mess and everything else. I'd rather be doing other things, but it worked somewhat. I like the mixture of like a brown and pink where it looks like it's avocado dyed. My niece who has her daughters eat avocados. They just love them, and they're okay for me. I don't really eat them. And so she did some avocado dyeing for me, and the papers are just so pretty. But I really love that mixture. So it's not, solid pink. Ooh, that's much better. I like that. It's much thicker. See how that one's just a little bit runny? It went through. Let me wipe that off. Such a messy crafter. If anybody, you don't notice it so much on people's channels, but on the homepage, and I've had this up here for years, really, they have like favorite channels or some of the favorite channels, because I can't say all of those are the only favorite channels, but take a scroll and look at what I have there. It's like on the home page where you feature videos and that. Yeah, I like this consistency, and I'm probably going to like it even more after it sits and gets a bit more thick. But I like it. Obviously, that is actually, it's not going to be a throwaway. I'm going to let that dry and add some inks or some color to it. And I can definitely use pieces of that in a collage. So let's do a little bit mark making. I'm going to set that aside to dry. And just going to use it in a fun way. You can do it in a pattern of lines. Of course, I probably wouldn't be wearing the gloves because make it wider, but so just take pieces of it, and I love it on the back, the black background. This paper and any darker paper, I do have some pastels with me and some pan pastels that I'll probably go over and do some colors around that as well. That's fun. Here, let me get it on a little tighter because I don't think I want to dip my fingers in there. And what's really fun, and I'm gonna go get it, because if I'm still gonna be here where I live now, I'm gonna want my other stuff. But the holidays are coming and stuff, so I thought I would just get by with what I have. But I bought a little electric frying pan, and I saw it on, I think it was Amy Bishop's channel, but just because I like to give credit to people. But I really like doing it. And you buy the black, I bought some beeswax crayons, but you can use any crayons if you have pieces of crayons or whatever. And you put your paper on the bottom of it. And so I'll do some. If I go down there, I'll pick up my thing, my crayons, and because I got a bunch of black and some fun colors. And it melts as you're making the marks. It was just so fun and cool. I think it would go really well with the new fabric that I got from, it was an Etsy shop, but now Marsha Dersey. Those prints, they're very grungy and very, very that kind of art journal kind of style, But I'm going to set this aside as well. Oh. This dries. Look at how dry. That's dry already. It dries so fast. It's the beauty of gesso too, right? Okay, so we have, put that in water. So we have this one and this one. And this is texture paste. And if it ever dries out a little bit before you can use it up, you can always just squirt it with water and the clear gesso. And this one, I'm just going to put mocha paste because it reminds me of that. Okay, I will try to put the, once it allows me to, I'm going to try to link those other people's tutorials on how to make it. But, use what you have and use some cheaper things. And the glue can be whatever from the Dollar Tree or wherever, $1.25 tree. And I hope you have fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm hoping to do more lives. Louise, thank you so much for hanging out. I would have been talking to myself for this whole time. So thanks. I need the practice. And I hope you guys liked seeing me create these pastes and these gessos. And I hope everybody has a great day. Bye.